money for you. You working. No more money for you. Bye-bye.
Go back, cross the
No more money for you. No more money for you. It's lazy. You lazy. No more money for you.
Take your back.
Okay, so these Democrats in Chicago want the migrants to get the hell out. These Democrats, the same ones who call the people in Texas racist, the same ones who say if you're opposed to all these illegal immigrants crossing the border, if you want to build a wall, if you support Greg Abbott putting barbed wire fence down there, you must be a bigot. You must be racist if you're trying to stop these poor innocent people who traveled all these miles to come into the country. So here they are right now in Chicago making life extremely hard. We got Brandon Johnson basically trying his best to softball what he really wants to do. He put a 60-day limit on free shelter for illegal immigrants after realizing the hard way that it's extremely expensive. And we're going to get to some of the numbers in a second. And they asked him about it. So he doesn't want to outright say what he's thinking. He's just trying to say it in a nice way. Look, you guys need to find somewhere to go. You need to make your own money and get the hell out of here or go back to your country. But he's saying it in a really nice Democrat puffed up way. Let's take a listen.
Brandon Johnson says the city has not yet decided whether to stick with next week's deadline to begin migrant shelter evictions. Months ago, the mayor announced plans to begin enforcing a 60-day limit on shelter stays, but the initial deadline in January was pushed back multiple times.
We're doing everything in our power to demonstrate compassion. In the event the deadline does come, people will have an opportunity to re-enter into the shelter system. But the main goal, of course, is to move with expedition people onto a life of sustainability.
If the date's not moved again, migrant evictions would begin Saturday, March 16th. Right now, there are nearly 12,000 asylum seekers staying in 23 shelters run by Chicago and the state.
There he is saying, look, this is unsustainable. We're spending way too much money. And this is what the people in Texas, in these border states, the Republican Party has been saying for the longest. This is unsustainable. You can't open your borders for the entire world. You can't have wide open borders and say, come one, come all, we're going to give you free stuff, because money isn't infinite. So now you Chicago Democrats, now you people who supported Brandon Johnson, you're learning the hard way. And these migrants, they're complaining, they're saying life is so terrible, life is so hard, and they don't even have enough diapers, allegedly. So we're going to look at this news clip about this big diaper shortage.
Now to new developments and details here about migrants living in Chicago shelters with children.
Necessities are in short supply, and Tia Ewing has more on this disturbing story. Tia?
Well, Sylvia and Terrence, I spoke to a nonprofit that helps migrant moms living in those shelters. They were shocked to learn many moms have been reusing soiled diapers. Nonprofit groups say necessities like diapers, sanitary napkins, and nutritious food for children are all in short supply. The numbers show there are 12,068 migrants living in 23 active shelters run by the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois. A number of them are children. Hygiene items come from Chicago's Emergency Operations Center's logistics area. The city gets supplies from the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and outside vendors. A city official says shortages from those agencies can result in shortages in the local shelters. The Southwest Collective is a nonprofit run by 5 moms. It's been in contact with 1,000 migrant moms, helping to provide them with assistance.
The big concern that a lot of parents are sharing with us is nutrition. So the food is a constant issue, right? The food is an issue because it's not a lot of variety. It's a lot of the cheapest we can make, which understandable, right? You've got 2,500 people in this shelter. So like, how do you feed them? It's going to be a lot of rice and pasta and breads and things of that nature. Not faulting anyone.
So you saw that, you heard that, there it is, the big diaper shortage. These people are expecting handouts. They're expecting to bring their babies who they're going to use for sympathy. Look, we got babies. You can't deport us. They're going to use these babies as a weapon against anybody who wants to arrest them for crimes, who wants to send them back to the border, or the ones who come over here pregnant and now they have anchor babies. They want free stuff for their babies. Give us diapers, give us free stuff, because that's why we're here. And this is what the Democrats ask for, because you incentivize these people to ask for this. So we're going to look now. It's not just a diaper shortage. Apparently, the shelter staff is limiting the hygiene products that these people have. So we're going to look at a few excerpts from this article here. It's kind of long, so just look at a piece to see exactly what is going on up here in Chicago with these Democrats running the shelters with their precious illegal immigrants. Migrants living in the city's shelters say that the staff is limiting the number of hygiene products they receive to use in the bathroom, retaliating against them for accepting donations, according to interviews with migrants and volunteers who advocate for them. What the hell? So they're saying they go outside of the shelter because the shelter is not giving them enough freebies. The Chicago Democrats, the councilman, the alderman, the mayor, they're not giving them enough freebies. So they go out there and panhandle. They go to the Red Cross, Goodwill. They go to all of these places and other local charities who just give out free stuff, formula for the babies, diapers for the babies, other stuff like that. And they're saying that if they come back to the shelter with that stuff, either some of it's going to be confiscated or they're not going to receive additional stuff from the shelter. So let's look at this piece right here. Migrants outside the shelter on the Lower West Side said they've been penalized over the past few weeks for trying to bring in outside donations to the shelter. Women reported that shelter staff would only give them one sanitary pad a day while they're on their period, and that they're forced to ask for toilet paper before using the bathroom. Can you imagine that? You traveled all these miles. Some of these people crossed the Darien Gap. Some of them had to go by boat to get to Panama. They've come all the way up through Central America, through Mexico. They got to deal with cartels when they get to North Mexico. They do all of this. Then they lie to Border Patrol saying they're an asylum seeker. Oh, it's so terrible. You got to let me in. They bring their babies with them. Can you imagine traveling all of those miles, doing all of that just to be living in a homeless shelter, begging for pads and toilet papers? These people have to ask for tissue before taking a shit. It's insane. Really? Was this the great American dream? You travel all of these miles just to be living in these type of conditions? One pad a day. Ugh. You have to go up and ask for a pad, and they give you one and then make a note of where you're sleeping so you can't ask for more. So here we got the people running this place saying, nah, it's not really like that. We just try to do even and fair distribution, make sure some migrants don't have more than others, or some illegal immigrants don't have more than others. So here we're going to talk about the money. So you have 23 shelters, 12,000 people. That's over 500 people per shelter. And it's costing the city of Chicago $45 million a month. So you hardworking taxpayer in Chicago's who voted for these left-wing lunatics, you put them in power. You live paycheck to paycheck, paying that overpriced Chicago rent, going to work every day, working overtime, sometimes 2 jobs. And they're spending your tax money, $45 million a month, on some illegal immigrants? This is what y'all wanted? I guess. So here you have them defending themselves. Nah, they don't have to ask for ass wiping paper. They can get the toilet paper from the table. I don't know about that. And you got a couple of sob stories. Lady talking about what happened to her in Peru. And this other lady saying, oh, she had some milk cartons and they took it. They threw it away. They're treating us like animals. And they have a grievance website where these immigrants can get on their free phones and snitch and say all the staff is treating us so bad. I don't know if anything comes of that, but bottom line is these Democrats in Chicago, they're starting to hold back the freebies. Brandon Johnson won't say it outright that he doesn't want to extend it. They're going to start evicting people from these shelters over the next week or so. He doesn't want to extend it because it's way too expensive, and the people in Chicago are pissed. These same people who voted for him, they're pissed, and he thinks that they're not going to vote for him again. I don't know. I think the vast majority will continue to vote blue no matter what, because they're a bunch of brainwashed suckers up there in Chicago. But while all of this is going on, while these people are sitting here begging for pads, tampons, and toilet paper, we got the gangs consolidating their power. Crime is down over 30% in Venezuela. And people wonder why. Like, man, what's happened? Was there a miracle in Venezuela? What happened with all the crime? Well, what happened is the USA has become the biggest sucker in the world. Venezuela clearly has emptied out its prisons. All those gangs down there, they come to United States. Most of them are in New York, but we got some in Chicago too. So we're gonna look at this short article. This one here, there's very limited information. We don't know what the hell is happening. It's just being reported, and I don't know if it's going to continue to be reported. So we got the Lake and Raleigh situation down there in Athens, Georgia. Very tragic situation where this young lady was killed by a illegal immigrant. But she ain't the only one. She's getting a lot of press, but there are a lot of other people. People have been in robberies, beat up, and murdered by these illegal immigrants. A lot of them have gang ties. And let's read about what happened with this one. A 29-year-old Venezuelan illegal immigrant. Finally, somebody calls them what they are. Shout out to the Daily Caller for not being afraid and not pushing these left-wing tactics of trying to twist wording to manipulate people. Subconsciously manipulate people by using migrant. What people think, oh, it's just any immigrant. It's not really a threat. It's not people who broke the law. No, illegal immigrant with alleged cartel ties was charged Tuesday in connection to a drive-by shooting in Chicago. Authorities confirmed to a local Fox outlet. We got these vicious gangs. We got the Tren de Aragua. We got the traditional North Mexico cartels. We got MS-13. We got other types of gangs going on, and these gangs are consolidating their power. They're spreading across the country. They're deep in Miami. They're very, very deep in New York. Not so deep in Venezuela anymore, I guess, because they're all in the United States. And they're in Chicago, too. All of these blue cities giving freebies, giving handouts. They're funding cartels. They're funding these gangs. Chicago police and the U.S. Marshal Services identified illegal immigrant Aldavis Carmona Rodriguez as the alleged gunman in a drive-by shooting on February 4th, which resulted in a 27-year-old woman being shot several times. So they said this man was in a Ford. He jumped out, sprayed her, and jumped in a Ford, and they drove off. So she was put in critical condition. She survived, but he's been charged with attempted murder. Rodriguez was later arrested by authorities on February 26 by U.S. Marshal Service and the Great Lakes Regional Fugitive Task Force, who coordinated with Chicago police, the outlet stated. And these are the people that they protect. So these people do these types of crimes, and these sanctuary cities don't even call ICE. These people commit all types of horrific acts, and a lot of times they get away with it. Like those illegal immigrants that stumped out those cops in New York City. And I don't know what the hell is going on here, because you can see a bunch of conflicting reports. Some outlets are saying, well, this isn't exactly what happened. It was a male victim. The migrant was let go. The charges were dropped. So it's really early. We don't know what the hell is going on. Are the cartels paying off U.S. Marshals? Who knows? Or is it just too early and we'll find out eventually what happened here? But while most of these people are worried about these general migrants, how much money they're costing, $45 million a month in Chicago in these shelters, we got gang activity spreading across the country. And we don't get much press about this. And I'm shocked that these people even talked about, the people in the mainstream media, they even talked about the Lake and Raleigh situation. And I know they tried to sweep it under the rug. The left-wing media, they tried to sweep it under the rug after they found out that it was an illegal immigrant. You got the mayor down there in Athens, Georgia, trying to defend being a sanctuary city, lying about it. And then you have other leftists down there trying to say, well, let's not focus too much on this. They're the reason why this type of stuff is happening across the country. They're letting in these people. Venezuela, other nations are emptying out their prisons. We got people from the Middle East, got Chinese spies in the United States, because these borders are wide open. So continue to be suckers. Continue to put left-wing activists like Brandon Johnson in power. Those left-wing aldermen who didn't let y'all vote on whether you want to stay a sanctuary city or not up there in Chicago. And you're going to continue to get suckered, because they're going to continue to spend your money on illegal immigrants, even though they're trying to find a way out. Brandon Johnson is desperately looking for an off-ramp. He doesn't want to look too bad in the Democrat Party about just outright calling it out and getting rid of these people and starting to deport them. He's not going to do that, but he's trying to slowly weasel his way out of the situation. But as long as he's under the thumb, under the boot of Biden and the DNC, not going to happen anytime soon. You guys are going to continue to spend tens of millions of dollars on illegal immigrants and fund gang activity. But let me know what you guys think. Leave me thoughts below. Share the video. Thanks for watching.